Hello and welcome to session 23 of my Pillars of Eternity Lorethrough. Last session, we ended up by getting attacked by Captain Emery here in this bar, the Charred Barrel. We were sent here saying that Chancellor Warren of Defiance Bay wanted to meet with us, but it was a trap, and when we went to go see Chancellor Warren, he also didn't know what was happening, and we got attacked. And it was a difficult fight, but we ended up killing Captain Emery and her henchmen. And now we probably have made even worse enemies of Gathbin, who wants his claim on Cadnua to be recognized and wants to take it away from me. So that's where we ended up here. And we ended in the Charred Barrel. Probably a good idea. We're not looking too good down here, so it's probably a good idea for us to take a rest.
Of course. Hello.
So Eorn tried to escape. That was interesting. I feel like I should set him free at some point. Not now, because he tried to escape. Also want to make sure that I have something. Yeah, I'm constructing the barracks. Okay. So we've explored here. We still have some Ondra's gift, but we also need to go to Copper Lane to tell Osric that we're not getting his armor back for him, which he will not be happy. I don't know if this means we're not even going to have the option to join the Dozens. Although, like I said, I want to join the Crucible this time around. Alright, so I gave the affidavit back to Penhelm. I won't blackmail him. But you'll let the ass-kisser keep my family's armor, he glowers. Or maybe he won you over with smooth talk and a few coppers. That it? He grunts, shaking his head. No matter, you've chosen your side now. Farewell. Alright, so it is completed. Osric is not happy with us. And we have chosen our side. And everyone else levels up. So for Kana, I chose not to increase any of the skills, saving them up for next time. We got Gurnisk slew the beast, but soon faced its kin. Conjures 3 worms to fight, to come into existence to fight for the party. And we gave him a weapon focus of Ruffian. He's been using guns, so I thought this would be a good idea. He has a pistol equipped right now.
Following your lead.
Probably should edit his chants too. Where? So where's my new chant that summons worms? Okay, so those are spells, so I guess their chance in the spells are a little bit different. I didn't realize that. Okay, now last turn. So for Alath, I moved his lore up 1, so he now has lore of 10. I gave him the spell Expose Vulnerabilities. Bears the enemy's combat vulnerabilities for all to see, reducing their damage reduction, deflection, and concentration. That's a level 3 spell. And I got Bloody Slaughter. All attacks of enemies with low endurance convert some hits to crits, and those crits do additional damage. So, thought that would be useful. For Durance, I moved his lore up 1, so he has now a lore of 5. No new class unlocks, and I gave him Brilliant Radiance. I use Holy Radiance a lot, so this says enemies take burn damage from the priest's Holy Radiance. Vessels take increased burn damage. So now when I use that, not only will my allies be healed, but my enemies will be hurt even if they aren't vessels. Last person. So for Sagani, I moved her stealth to +1. I think she has a stealth of 5 now. No new class unlocks. And I granted her Vicious Companion, which trains the ranger's animal companion in vicious attacks, causing it to deal more damage and penetrate damage reduction with each hit. Whoops. Alright, so let's go to the catacombs now to talk with the necromancer down there. Forget his name. But he wanted some kind of grimoire, and we ended up not killing Modred, but opening a chest which contained a wict, which the wict killed Modred. Oh, I forgot. I need to go get that knife for Gordy, too. I think I set off all the traps in here, so I shouldn't need to detect any of them. Hopefully, anyway. Did you find my grimoire? I opened the chest, if that's what you mean. He places his hands on the table and leans forward. Tell me everything. The look on his face, the sound of his screams. He closes his eyes and clasps his gnarled hands together. I want to bask in every glorious detail. That wasn't part of our agreement. Where's your sense of humor? His shoulders shake with mirth. At least you've given me a good laugh. And now for your reward. He removes his amulet and hands it to you. You asked for Wina, and here she is. Small enough to carry with you, he chuckles again. She was a formidable warrior, and now her soul is a formidable talisman. It's served me well these years, but I've moved on to bigger and better things. He waves a hand at the texts and the ruins on his table. Now, like so many things, it passes to the next generation. Use it as you see fit, or give it to that miserable old sap Dalton. He shrugs his bony shoulders and returns to his work. Whatever you decide, our business is ended. A soul prowls within the bloodstone like a caged Stelgar. It's filled with a fierce, restless energy. Who are you? You see an image in your mind of a woman in heavy leather armor bearing twin daggers. Next to her is a man, young and handsome, who calls her Wina. The vision shifts to a windswept plain next to a lake. 50 men and women in matching leathers lay dead, their bodies contorted and deformed by some sinister sorcery. Wina falls among them, her body collapsing next to the young man you saw earlier. She's too weak to speak, but the name Dalton appears in your mind. A lone figure strides across the battlefield, barely bothering to step over the corpses. His eyes are filled with an unnatural light and fixed on Rowena. He reaches out to her, and what little life remained in her body departs. When he takes the amulet from around her neck, you feel her anguished soul trapped within it. With a final contemptuous glance at the fallen Dalton, the man departs. Dalton sent me to find you. The soul pulses with warmth. It fills your mind with memories of a young man who's both bold and generous. But fury and despair gnaw those images away until all you can feel are cold, crimson walls pressing against you and something loathsome feeding off of you as the years fade into decades. What do you want? You see an image of the amulet shattering and the soul inside rising and dissipating among the stars. Farewell. Okay. So yeah, she's imprisoned in this amulet, and I think shattering it will free her. I don't know. I think Helig needs to die.
What?
Hopefully that was the right choice. Can't be trapping souls inside amulets. What to do with Dalton here? I want to destroy it, but I wonder if we can encourage him to destroy it. Because Rowena is a very...
Whatever happens, at least we're out of that mud hole, Gilded Vale. I grew up in Gilded Vale. Quaint. That's what I meant to call it. No, you had it right.
Alright. I forget what I was going to say before Aloth and Adir started talking.
How do you do?
Did you find her? Dalton asks, his tired eyes brighten. Show him the amulet. Yes, but not as you expected. The old man studies the amulet. Rowena used to wear this. Where did you get it? From Helig, who's kept her soul trapped inside it for decades. It's time to set her free. Dalton's eyes widen in horror. No, please. After searching for her for so long, he gazes at the amulet. Just to have her close to me, to visit her in my dreams. That would be enough. Enough for you, but what about her? If you'd keep her trapped in this amulet for the sake of your own comfort, you're no better than the wizard who imprisoned her. Dalton's expression withers. You're right. Please, let me do it. He draws a club with a trembling hand and crushes the amulet. As the gem cracks, you feel essence rush from it. Oh, I should have read the amulet description. The old man looks at the shattered gemstone. Thank you for showing me reason. Perhaps you'll wait for me in the next life. He looks at his hands, shaking. By the flame, she won't have to wait long. Please, take this. He hands you the club. It's from my old adventuring days. I think it's time to finally let them go. Okay, so I got... First of all, we completed Voice from the Past. We were able to convince Dalton to... Ooh. So before I read this, we were able to convince Dalton to smash the amulet and free Rowena, thankfully. And he is now looking forward to seeing her in the afterlife when he dies. He's actually kind of looking forward to that. He feels like he's not going to be alive much longer. Okay, so Pallegina, we set Pallegina to deal with the problem where people were killing virgins and taking locks of their hair because it was some kind of quack saying that it was a cure for the Hollowborn. So that's the description up here, and then we have what happened. Though Pallegina was unable to find the source of the rumors plaguing Road's End and the surrounding earldom of Hellsgate, the local authorities assisted in breaking up mobs, punishing would-be murders, and preventing more young women from being buried alive. A particularly large and violent mob at Kell Hill Cemetery required Pallegina to rally the local soldiers and put down the primary troublemakers. On the body of the biggest belligerent, Pallegina found an odd magical rope that he intended to use on a local young woman. A wizard advisor of the Earl of Hellsgate suspected that the rope had been created by the same person responsible for spreading the rumors and inciting the attacks in the first place. I got 1663 experience for that, got some money, and I got a binding rope. This cruel instrument was created by a resident of Hellsgate who was pursuing a rumor that promised the cure for the Hollowborn crisis. He intended to use the rope to bind a virgin girl and to bury her alive, later pulling the corpse from the ground to harvest some of her hair for the cure. Despite its nefarious purpose, the binding rope still possesses useful powers. So this is a belt that gives you +2 constitution. What's binding? Characters hitting self are stuck for 3 seconds. Oh, okay. Wonder if I should give that to Adair then. Also wanted to read, we got a Soulward Amulet and Dial Ewin Debita, which is a club. Dial Ewin Debita. Once owned by the Glenfathan barbarian Badwin Calda, the club has ended the life of many an opponent. Badrin was known to rush headlong into every battle, swinging the club over his head, shouting, Dial Ewin Debita, vengeance, just and merciless. Even in victory, Badwin was relentless, using the club to dispatch wounded or captive foes where they lay. In time, his battle cry came to be associated with the weapon itself, remembering long after Badwin's death. Oh, where did this come from? We have a soulbound scepter. Soulbound weapons, and I think maybe there's armor too, or weapons added after the initial release of the game because people didn't think there was enough kind of unique weapons. So soulbound weapons are weapons that when you equip them, they are soulbound to you. Oh, and I actually get this, so let's read this here. Soulbound items are unique items that can magically bond with the soul of a single character. Once bound, the item can only be used by that character unless the bond is severed. A soulbound item will increase in power as the wielder completes certain requirements specified in the item's description. Most soulbound items can only bond with the characters of certain classes. However, regardless of the item's type, a soulbound item always qualifies for any talents or abilities like weapon focus and specialization that the character may have. For example, if a fighter has a weapon focus and specialization in Ruffian, he or she would gain their benefits even when wielding a soulbound greatsword or wand. I want to read that again. For example, if a fighter has a weapon focus and specialization in Ruffian, he or she would gain their benefits even when wielding a soul-bound greatsword or wand. Benefits from multiple talents or abilities of the same type, weapon focus, ruffian, and peasant, do not stack. If the bond to a soul-bound item is ever severed, it will lose all of the abilities as gained over time. So here we can equip it, bind it to somebody, and as they complete sort of tasks, then it will get stronger. So Geared Hawaiianus Stains, the Bluestone Scepter, is remarkable in that it has been shaped from a single sapphire. Its only other component is its grip, made of silver bands. So I think I want to give this one to, because it's a scepter, right? Yeah, I want to give it to Aloth. And let's bind the soul. Are you sure you want to soulbind geared Hwena stains to Aloth? Once bound, this item cannot be equipped by any other character. Yes. So I need to deal 200 raw damage to enemies with geared Hohenstellen to unlock the next level. Okay, so basically I just need to use the weapon. And then there was the amulet. Is that here somewhere? There it is. Nope, it's a tarnished locket. Where is it? Oh, lost the item, Soulward Amulet. Okay, so I'm going to quick save here. I'm just going to read the item description for the Soulward Amulet. Wherever that is. Maybe it's in stash. Yeah, here it is. This brilliant bloodstone amulet has a strange aura about it. As you hold the gem, you think you hear a woman's voice. Okay, so yeah, you get +5 will if you do equip it, but we obviously didn't do that. Okay, that's all I wanted to do there. Okay, so we've completed a couple quests. Okay, so I need to return to Cadnua to see if anything happened there. I think that's the next thing we should do. If anything's happened there since we got attacked by Captain Emery, we feel like maybe Gathbin set somebody there.
The keep's coming along nicely.
Thank you, Kana. Speak to the mob in front of your great hall at Cadnua. Uh-oh.
Of course.
Farmer. I wouldn't pay, so they set my crops on fire. When the boy tried to stop him, they knocked him over the head. He's alive, but he can't think straight no more. Your boy got lucky. My guards, good men both, got put to the sword after they'd surrendered. I paid those thugs what they wanted, but they still took everything I had. There he is. A woman points at you, and all eyes in the crowd turn their hostile gazes upon you. Guessing here that Gathbin has been attacking the nearby villages and farms. What's going on here? We want justice. You've been terrorizing us, and we won't stand for it any longer. Go on. You sent your men to my farm to collect a crop tax, saying we was overdue. For me, it was a road toll. I've been traveling up and down this way for years, and this was the first I've heard of such a thing. Other people in the crowd chime in with similar stories. What makes you think I sent these men? They said they were acting on the orders from the Lord of Cadnua. That's you. Those weren't my men. Then who were they? They weren't no common bandits. If this happens again, it's not my orders. You heard directly from me. Say we believe you. What about what we've lost? What about my crops? And my goods? And the families of my guards? I will give them some money. Share this among yourselves. Most generous of you, my lord. The villagers nod and smile at you, uttering thanks as they distribute coins between them. I gain 3 prestige for my keep. Marshal Forwin. Ah, angry mobs. The inevitable thorn in every ruler's side, eh, Bjarter? They're good people. Can't blame them for reacting that way. Your subjects are fortunate to have a leader that understands the compassionate side of nobility. But for now, they will have to wait. I have news about Lord Gathbin. Let's discuss it in the Great Hall, away from curious ears. Lord Bjarter. I have received word that Lord Gathbin is amassing an army of mercenaries near Yenwood Field. It appears a peaceful claim to Cadnua is no longer possible. The Earl has sent me to aid you in forming your own force to counter this threat. I'm here in an advisory role only, of course. The Earl won't officially take sides in the dispute. Why won't the Earl officially legitimize my claim? It's a delicate situation. Legally, Lord Gathbin's claim is just, and he knows it. Stripping land and title from a noble family is quite dangerous, perhaps more so than killing the man outright. With Gathbin dead, the Earl only need worry about blood vengeance from family members that actually cared for Lord Gathbin. Those, if court gossip is to be believed, are few and far between, so Gathbin is not very popular even amongst family. Losing a family claim to land and title, though, such disputes incite hatred from the entire clan and their political allies, not to mention the unease it causes among other nobles. Wars are started for less. No, if Gathbin is to be denied, it will be you who must prove your legitimacy to the Earl and all others who would dispute your claims. This is what it means to be noble in Deerwood. If there's anything else you wish to know, please ask. How much time do I have? Enough. It's rumored Lord Gathbin will suffer a series of unfortunate and completely unforeseeable setbacks before his army is complete. He grins and winks. Still, I'd not tarry long. I have a fortress with strong walls. Why not let Gathbin's army come to me? Lord Gathbin isn't fool enough to risk tearing down Cadnua just to kill you. If you shield yourself behind these walls, he'll have free rein to torment your subjects in the countryside. Earl Badamar will see your inaction against Lord Gathbin as a sign that you're unwilling to perform your duties as Lord of Cadnua. Losing his support will have dire consequences. Taking the fight to Lord Gathbin is your only option. Okay, so let's talk about my army. The Marshal nods. Where am I getting my troops? Really quickly here. So apparently Gathbin is coming to claim by attacking me, amassing an army. And this is a very political struggle right here. The Earl doesn't want to legitimize my claim because it would mean delegitimizing Gathbin's claim, which is, he admits, legit, even though he doesn't like Gathbin very much. So what Marshal Forwin just told us is that it's actually better for somebody to kill Gathbin than it is for the Earl to delegitimize his claim, because if Gathbin dies, then it's just going to be some people who are angry at his death and maybe try to take out their revenge, and that's even less of an issue for somebody like Gathbin, who is not very popular and people don't like very much, so there's not going to be many people, if any, who want to take out their revenge. But if we delegitimize his claim, then that also is a slap in the face to anybody that is a part of Gathbin's family or anything, and they will feel like they need to take revenge on that. And he says wars have been started for less, so he's worried about further conflict if that does happen. We can't just sit here and wait for Gathbin to attack us, because then it seems like we're weak and not willing to fight for Cadnua, which means the Earl will more likely just straight up give it to Gathbin. So very political things right here that will eventually lead to a large battle. Okay, so let's find this. Where am I getting my troops? I've sent out a call to volunteers from lands around Cadnua. Hopefully, people will realize that being under your rule is preferable to that of Lord Gathbin's. Any hirelings stationed in Cadnua will also accompany you to the battle, so I suggest you acquire as many of them as possible. However, most of these men and women have no military experience. Hopefully you can gain additional allies, the Knights of the Crucible perhaps, or the Dozens. What's the status of my regular troops? The Marshal shakes his head. Too green and too few. If you go up against Lord Gathbin now, losses will be heavy. However, victory is still possible. We need to recruit veteran troops. I know a company or two of veterans that would be willing to join us for a bit of coin. I'd say 10,000 copper should cover the expenses. Oh, I think I can just give them... I think I have enough. I'm going to do that. It will be done. What special allies do I have available? He shakes his head. No one has offered their help, I'm afraid. It may be possible to find an ally in Defiance Bay among the Knights of the Crucible, the Dozens, or, if you're truly desperate, House Dominel. I've also heard rumors of a force of raid Sarens currently in the White March. If you find your way that far north, perhaps you can sway some of them to join our cause. That's all for now. Farewell. Okay, so we are now amassing an army to fight Lord Gathbin, which is a good thing that we have decided to ally ourselves with the Knights of the Crucible.
Hello.
We just gave 10,000 gold, so we need a little bit more here. Alright, so what's next? I think better indeed. So they are starting to complement my keep at Cadnua. So I think next we should head to Ondra's gift. At the Salty Mast there too, there's a quest that we need to do. Someone has an amulet. We also need... I completely lost my train of thought. Maybe I'll remember in traveling back. Alright, barracks are completed. And I've been putting off getting the craft hall, so I think that's what I want to do now. So I did want to look up what the quest for the Knights of the Crucible is, because that would be... Yeah, this is the ink with the medallion that we need. That is a Salty Mast and Ondra's gift. Here it is. Okay, so I need to meet with Viana at the Scrivener's dormitory, so that we can put those Forge Knights together. Those Forge Knights, I have to say, are kind of scary. Surrounded by scattered planks, it isn't clear whether the skiff has been half built and abandoned or cannibalized for lumber. Nothing over here? Oh, okay. Still nothing over here. They beat somebody up and are running away. The man's fancy clothes are ripped and blood flows from a fresh cut above his eye. He tries to push himself up, but his arm is shaking. He winces painfully. Help him up. Thank you, he gasps as he rises. My head. What happened? He carefully dabs his bloody nose with a silk handkerchief. I was on my way to the club. He slowly stretches out one leg, grimacing at his scraped knee. It's a rough part of town, but the rabble's never been violent. Even a night with a collie isn't worth this.
Nothing like this in Gilded Vale. Just Wallaroon of the milkmaid. She knew what she was doing.
Overfried cod, watered ale, and prostitution. A bastion of Deerwooden culture.
I hope you aren't expecting to find the leaden key in here.
Visit new lands, see the sights. I do love travel.
Now to find a home for my other staff.
Hail and well met.
Orico catches your eye. A golden hoop dangles from one ear, and his fine fitted clothes whisper as he glides over to you. You have me at a loss. How could I afford time with such a magnificent creature? Okay, so this is a escort of some kind. I'm gonna say, what is he talking about? Should I be naive? Nah, never mind. A new face. Welcome to the Salty Mast. This is Maya. I feel like I know that name.
Hail and well met.
The Almao woman watches you suspiciously. One hand is tensed at her side, but as you approach, she relaxes and gives you a friendly, if weary, smile. I don't like many outfitted like you who aren't looking for trouble. Oh, I don't see many outfitted like you who aren't looking for trouble. You aren't looking for trouble, are you? What kind of trouble are you having? A frown ripples across the blue facial markings. The kind that's bad for business. Local rowdies have taken to harassing my hard-working boys and girls, and our customers. They started showing up after this rash of Hollowborn, and they've been driving my regulars away, so that's what we saw happening outside here. She looks you up and down, scratching her chin. There aren't too many who care about what happens in places like the Gift, but word is you're an exception. The knights are too busy sniffing around Duke Avar to bother with us commoners, and I'd just as soon not deal with their bureaucracy anyway. No one should be harassed. I'll put an end to this. Maya draws you close. These thugs tend to roam in groups, which suggests to me that these aren't random incidents. She places one large finger on your chest. You put a stop to these attacks, and I'll find a real nice way to thank you. She winks. Got me? If she means to bake us something, my vote's for cookies, says the deer. I've got questions. What do you know about these attacks? She waves a hand at the door. You only have to step outside to see it for yourself. Those thugs out there are just waiting to cause trouble for anyone coming or going. She sizes you up. Maybe they would have let you pass, however. Tell me more about your business. She rubs the back of her neck. It's not doing as well as I'd like with all this trouble. I run an honest enterprise, just trying to give folks a little rest and relaxation. You help me out, and I'll see about getting you a special discount. Can I ask you about something else? A knowing grin warps her blue markings. Now, just what can I do for a strapping lad like yourself? Tell me about this place. I thought that was clear as crystal waters below the dock. Clear as the crystal waters below the docks. She laughs. This here is the Salty Mast, the most famous house of pleasure in Defiance Bay. We've got drinks, beds, and good company to help you enjoy both. Of course, the club for refined and prestigious gentlemen is upstairs. You'll find several of the hardest working boys and girls in Defiance Bay up there, too. So that seems to be where the expensive prostitutes are. Is there someone here named Sarah? She laughs. You must be new in town, dearie. She's the most sought-after girl in the district. You want to spend some time with her? Just ask. She's 1,000 for the night, but she's worth every pound, or so they tell me. Fancy a go with her. Best money you can spend in the Gift. Maybe another time. See if I can get there somehow else. All right, goodbye. So we got the new quest to find and confront the thugs that have been attacking both the working girls and boys at the Salty Mast, and also the customers that come here. Big Dermsy. The Orland man seems to walk with a slight limp. He doesn't say anything, but he stops and regards you with interest. What's wrong with your leg? He just laughs and shakes his head. Okay, so that seems like he's a prostitute. Dunrid Row. Thought I had read that one already. Oh, this isn't stealing, huh? I'll take these then. But here we go. The origins and practices of Dunrid Row are difficult to nail down. When asked, everyone seems to know how Dunrid Row started and how long it's been in operation. Yet every person asked gives a different account of its creation and a different date. The only thing everyone can agree on is that it seems to have been around as long as anyone can remember. Without fail, everyone recalls hearing about the exploits of Dunrid Row when they were children. Aside from the organization being comprised of special investigators, most of whom seem to be ciphers, and the fact that they seem to have their hands in everything, yet never admit to it, anything reported about Dunrid Row walks the fine line between truth and outright hearsay. Information abounds, but no one can say which fragments are truth and which are fiction. I will provide all I have uncovered and leave it to the readers to decide for themselves, as all of it feels both plausible and unbelievable at turns. The group is supposedly named after the street where its headquarters are located, in a building called Hadrit House. It is said in some circles this is just the name they want people to think they're known by. Their real headquarters, people whisper, is elsewhere. Why would they do this? It's simple. It's far easier for them to infiltrate, to hide, to carry on behind the scenes if everyone is concentrating on Dunrid Row. Divert attention where you want people to look, and you can act behind their backs with impunity. People have had interactions with agents from Dunrid Row and invariably describe them as unmemorable. No detail as to their appearance, behavior, or anything, beyond the fact that they were there, seems to stick with anyone. Are they truly nondescript, or do their ciphers use their powers to remain anonymous? As with so many questions regarding Dunrid Row, no one seems to know. While no specific details about the agents are ever reported, one fact that all people agree with is that they seem primarily to be Orlands and Glenfathan elves, though theories as to why this may be are many and conflicting. Their presumed headquarters is supposedly run by Lady Idis Webb. Though no one seems able to pinpoint the time of her arrival, the author was unable to locate a single person familiar with Dunrid Row who could remember a time when she wasn't around. Many things are hinted at behind closed doors about Lady Webb, but few are willing to elaborate, for it is rumored that although she has not left Hadrit House since anyone can remember, she is a cipher of tremendous power and that she can read the thoughts of the entire city at will. Theories abound regarding her age, her reasons for what would seem to be a lifetime of seclusion, and even of her secret control over all of Defiance Bay, if not Deerwood itself. But as with all other matters regarding the organization, no one seems to be able to say anything for sure. Okay, so this is a little bit of a history of the place called Dunrid Row. We have been to Hadrit House, that is where all the ciphers were, and we found out that Penhelm's affidavit was forged the night of the Crucible. And there was a locked door in there, so I wonder if maybe that's where Lady Webb is, if she actually is here. Or not, but there also seems to be some kind of secret meeting place for the ciphers of Dunrid Row, who use their powers, it seems, to become anonymous, though everything that's said about them, as this book implies, hints that it may or may not be true. So people are never really sure if it's the truth when you're speaking about, Dunrid Row. Okay? Rolled bills and receipts show amounts paid to Maya's staff, as well as her expenses for ale, fish, and new linens. Wade's eyes are red-rimmed and unfocused. He stares into a filthy mug as if searching for something. He shivers and takes another drink. Why don't you take one of them stools over there? He swats at the air in your general direction. Nowhere else for me to go, not with a wife and estate and my boy. Mike. His face freezes with a stricken expression, and he turns back to the bar, muttering into his drink. So something happened to his son? Half-finished tankards of ale and bottles of wine leave wet rings on the bar. Scattered plates hold fish bones and grease.
Gods keep you.
Lines are Linus tulips. She leans in the bar, her black painted nails tapping the wood. What'll it be? This is the second time. Oh, so this is just hiring some adventurers. Okay, got it. We can get a room here. Can hire. So this is effectively an inn here. Can retrain. Okay. This is a working girl here.
Hello.
Not from around here, are we? The young woman's voice rolls with the saucy cadence of Ondra's gift. You need a local girl to show you the highlights. Lucky for you, I'm one of them. You're a local girl or a highlight? Both, gorgeous. What else can you do with that clever tongue of yours? What local attractions would you recommend? I'd rather show than tell. Maybe another time. Okay. A lot of guards here. Older drunkard.
Greetings.
His robes are torn and stained with vomit. He turns his eyeless face towards you, wiping his mouth. Come for a story? His speech is slurred, and his ragged voice. I told all the best stories. He slaps his chest. It's my club, anyway. What club? The club for refined and prestigious gentlemen. He prods your shoulder. Wait. If you don't know about the club, you must be. He heaves, catching his chest. After several precarious seconds, he recovers. Where was I? Oh, you must be here about the ring. The ring. He shoves it into your hand. Have to have that to get into the lounge, he hiccups. They don't just let anyone in, you know. He wipes a hand on his shredded robe. It's the most exclusive club in Defiance Bay. He slaps you on the back. And whatever you do, don't tell them you're new, or... He turns away, overcome by a fit of dry heaving. So I've got a drunk here, and I've gained an item. The Club of Refined and Prestigious Gentlemen membership ring. Where is it? Oh, that's probably it. Yes. This ring signifies membership in a club of refined and prestigious gentlemen. Beneath its sigil, a motto is inscribed in Eldidiran. Frod e Yethmedu. Wonder how much of that is truth. This is a rather graphic declaration of affection for someone named Cyril. That's who we're looking for.
Welcome.
Alright, so it seems like there's always a like kind of a joke naive option that like pretends that you don't know what's going on up here. Astoundingly, there's no spare change between these cushions. Akali, that is the woman that the person who got beat up outside was talking about. She says, I came to Defiance Bay from the frozen lands in the southern end of the world. Few of my people venture this far north, but none know how to warm a cold night like we do. Her skin seems to glow in the darkened bar. A game of Dunrid Draw seems to have ended abruptly with scattered cards and Blackson pipes. Nice ring, you may enter. Okay. So that ring was real. It was Jessen. Your first time at the club for refined and prestigious gentlemen, sir? Vincent Dwellier. The man looks down his nose at you. So, you're a member, I see. Are you here for the exclusive club equipment? Tell me about this place. He folds his arms. Broadly speaking, you're in the club for refined and prestigious gentlemen. On the upper floor of the Salty Mast, he tilts his head. More specifically, you're in the members-only lounge, which means you've been part of the club for at least a year. He eyes you suspiciously. Our rules are strict, but they keep the riffraff out, mostly. I've been collecting the finest equipment for over a decade. I guarantee you won't find a superior collection. So this just gives us access to... oh my god. It gives us access to a merchant that has a lot of unique equipment. So let's see here. Spectacular Spadum. This versatile poleaxe is powerful and flexible weapon that can deal devastating blows even against a fully armored opponent. Its straight-bladed axe head is opposed by a hammer, allowing the wielder to switch between differing damage types as circumstances require. The Temaparacle. The greatsword is renowned for its ability to cause deadly wounds even against terrible beasts. Though it is a relatively slow weapon and requires the use of both hands, it is truly devastating when used by a skilled warrior. Krait's Remorse. The big brother of the mace, Morning Stars are two-handed weapons topped with a spike head. They lack the armor-penetrating power of maces, but are effective against a wider range of armor types. So these are unique, but they don't seem to have too much actual lore attached to them. It's more about just what kind of weapon it is. Yeah, this is just about a hunting bow. So this is nice to have access to, but it doesn't seem like there's anything we can learn about lore. I mean, I'll just take a quick look at them, but these are mostly descriptions that just describe the type of weapon it is. Yep. Okay, so all just generic descriptions. But I do want to remember that that's there. Oh, here's the Club of Refined and Prestigious Gentlemen guest book. Let's take a look. The names scrawled in the guest book span pages of the thick tome. So a lot of names here. So, really quickly, I don't know if there's more examples of this, but this one right here, Dionysus, I recognized one of the things that this guy had for sale was Dionysus's something. I don't know if that means this person sold it to them or they got it through some other means, that weapon through some other means. Okay, so here's Cyril's guards over here. So this is Ixmiddle clothing. The Ixmiddle plains are vast and fertile savannas to the north of the eastern reach. Though the climate is warm, it is less oppressively humid than the heart of Edir. Ixmiddle clothing is heavily layered, using cotton and highly decorated wool in equal measure. Extensive beadwork is another defining feature of Ixmiddle garments, found both in jewelry and incorporated into the fabric itself. So a little bit about Ixmiddle Plains there, which is an area north of where we are. Up close, these look more comfortable than one might expect. Okay, let's go talk to these guards, see what they have to say. If you want to meet Cyril, talk to Maya. Okay. maybe before we pay to go see Cyril, we'll do what Maya wanted us to do with the ruffians.
Have you ever chased a skirt wizard? Or do you merely hide behind them?
Don't pawn your personal problems off on me.
They will use you, cast you off when it suits them. Never speak another word to you.
Maybe they just don't answer to fiery whore.
What have we here? Another tourist in the gift. He nods his shifty-eyed companions. Let's give him a proper welcome. See what happens if I say, let's talk this through. He draws a sharpened blade and smiles. I'm afraid you're missing the point, friend.
Varathis! That's it!
Get on!
He didn't know who they were messing with. We got a key. This old key looks like it's been rusted from years of exposure to the salty air. One of the thugs dropped a key that looks like it belongs to a house in Ondre's gift. So there's a house that's locked that maybe now we can get into. I'm just realizing now that this recording itself is a little over an hour. Might not be when I edit it, but just want to make sure we stick to at least as close to under an hour as we can. So I think I'm going to stop for now. We did a little bit of going back and forth to Cadnua. We know that we now have to prepare for an army for Gathbin's attack. So that he can claim his land here. So we are gathering troops for that. We visited Ondra's Mast. We know where Cyril is, the woman that has the Ingwithan amulet, or medallion, I mean. But we haven't got to her yet. We'd have to pay 1,000 copper pawns to see her right now. But I think we want to see if we can work that down a little bit by helping out Maya in the Salty Mast. So we will continue doing that next time. Thank you so much for watching, commenting, subscribing, all those kinds of things. And we will see you next time in session 24. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.